So the PS5 is out and people are rushing to GameStop, Best Buy, Target. They're going... What? Scalpers can't even get rid of them? Hello everyone, and jokes aside, the PlayStation 5 Pro is out, and I don't think that it was the smash success that Sony thought it was going to be. The starting asking price was $700 with no disk drive and no stand. Sony thought that we were going to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro no matter what they did and no matter what the cost. Well, joke's on them because we ain't buying it. No, seriously, a lot of people are not buying it. Recently, I saw this article showing that scalpers can't even get rid of it. Good, because scalpers. And I don't think Sony considered for 1 second how difficult things are for the average person nowadays. $700 for an upgrade to a console that's hardly dropped any exclusive games?
Where are we?
Killing is making a choice.
Definitely not enough to warrant a $700 upgrade. However, I'm here to tell you that Sony hasn't missed the mark on everything, because I want to remind you of an alternative option to the PlayStation 5 Pro that I think is a way better choice, and that is the PlayStation Portal. Yes, the Portal. I have to admit, I've had mine since March, and I've used it at least once a week since then. I think that the Portal has been one of the greatest surprises that Sony has given us in a really long time. When the Portal was announced, a lot of people threw shade its way. There was concern of the system streaming games and not playing them natively. In addition to that, you would need internet access to actually use it. I have to admit, I was one of the haters. I really did not like the idea of having to be connected to the internet while using the device. But I, like many others, had a change of heart when I finally got my hands on the system. After people began to use it, they realized that it played much better than expected, and it was genuinely a good bang for your buck. So much so that, like anything good in life, the PlayStation Portal was scalped for a very long time. And it is just now becoming easily accessible for the majority of people, which again makes it a great alternative to the PlayStation 5 Pro. So if you are actually considering getting a Portal, I would say get one now before December and the holidays come up. But if you're not convinced, enjoy the rest of the video. You might learn something that might change your mind. But let's begin with the biggest, most obvious reasons on why you would choose a Portal over the PlayStation 5 Pro, and that is the price. It's obvious that the PlayStation 5 Pro is a premium console with a very premium price tag. But as someone who has had their Portal for a few months, I feel confident in saying that it is also a premium product. For just $200, you get a portable PS5, kinda. You may not get the full power of the PS5 Pro, but I would argue you get something even better. With the Portal, you get options and variety on how you enjoy your PlayStation. And you get to look at the way that you play games in a completely different point of view. One of my favorite things to do with the Portal is to have games that I only play on Portal and games that I only play on television. Let me give you guys some examples. Recently, I have been playing a lot of Black Ops 6, and because it's a multiplayer game, I usually only play it when I'm on my actual PS5 console and it's plugged into the LAN cable. More on that in a second. But in addition to Black Ops 6, I've also been playing through Persona 3's DLC. And I typically only play that on my Portal since it's a game that isn't very graphically demanding and it's turn-based, so I never worry about latency issues. More on that in a second. And for me, Black Ops 6 is a game that I enjoy more while sitting at my desk. And Persona is a game that feels right at home when I'm laying in bed or while I'm watching a movie in the background. It's kind of hard to explain to other people, but it's the type of way that you start to think when you finally have a Portal. Which games do I want to play when I have extra time just lounging around? And which games do I want to have the full television experience? Now, I do want to be transparent. I do love my Portal, but it is not perfect. I highly recommend when using the Portal that you're using a PS5 that is connected to the LAN port, or you may experience lag. I've used the Portal via Wi-Fi in and outside of my home, and it is not the greatest. If you have a strong internet connection and decent Wi-Fi, you should have a pretty good experience with your PlayStation 5 connected to the LAN. But if you are going straight Wi-Fi and have no plans on connecting your PS5 directly, then you may not get the experience that I will be referencing throughout the video. Portal also has a resolution of 1080p and can play games up to 60 frames per second. But I only ever hit those 60 frames per second if the game that I'm playing offers a performance mode. That being said, if you're the type of gamer that really cares about resolution, this may be a deal breaker for you. It's definitely better than the Switch, but it does not come close to what the television provides. And the Portal is not here to replace your PS5, but to give you an additional way to experience it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I do want to talk about why I think the Portal's portability and flexibility is such a game changer. Not only do you get to play the Portal in different areas of your home, but you'll find that you have more time to game than you originally thought, which makes the Portal great for hardcore and for casuals. For those of you who consider yourself hardcore gamers, you can continue playing your games while sitting on the toilet or laying in bed before you gotta call it a night. For those of you who enjoy games a little bit more casually and aren't such a stickler for resolution, you may just find your new favorite way to enjoy playing PlayStation. For me, the Portal's practicality has been very eye-opening. Scenarios like sharing a TV with a family member or being able to play my whole entire PlayStation library on the go has really been life-changing. We've all been in a situation where we buy a brand new game and all we want to do is play that game all day. But then if you gotta go somewhere, visit family, do yada yada yada, the PlayStation Portal actually gives you an option to take that game with you. It doesn't come up all the time, but when it does, it feels good. Again, you are not going to get the full PlayStation Pro experience. I know we all love to shit on the $700 PlayStation Pro, but some of its gameplay does look impressive. However, it still does not warrant that $700 price tag because it doesn't bring anything new to you like the Portal does. If you decide to get a PlayStation 5 Pro, you are going to continue playing games as you have been. Maybe you move your original PS5 to another room or something, but your options are still infinitely limited compared to what you get with the Portal, and at $500 less. The Portal really feels like a lifestyle product rather than just a console upgrade, which is really cool to think about if you're actually considering getting a Pro. Not only does a Portal save you some money, but consider your playstyle and your lifestyle to see if the Portal is actually a better choice overall for you. I know I will not be buying the PlayStation Pro anytime soon, and I'm gonna play my Portal throughout the holidays. And as a side note, if you do end up getting the Portal, don't forget that it does not use Bluetooth headphones. This was another really big issue that consumers had when the Portal was announced, and honestly, it's a really big gripe for me too. But it does have an aux port, so if you have a headset that you typically connect to your PlayStation 5 controller, you can continue using that. And that's what I did for a little while. But I eventually upgraded to the Sony Pulses, and real quick review, I probably wouldn't recommend them for $200. The sound quality is actually really good, and the 3D audio is really cool. But I have two major gripes with it. The first issue I have is connectivity issues. Connectivity? I find them disconnecting randomly and not wanting to reconnect to my PlayStation or my Portal until I do a full restart of the system, which can be a huge headache if you're in the middle of an online game and playing with friends in a party. And the second one is the designs. They're kind of like AirPods, and just like AirPods, if you have them in your ear for a few hours, they're eventually going to get sore and they just kind of hurt. Aside from that, it's really nice to have a Bluetooth headset with your Portal, but I would say maybe get the PlayStation Pulse Elites instead. I really hope this video at least helps one person make the decision on whether they're going to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro or not. Because if you don't have a Portal, I obviously highly recommend you get that instead. And if you already have a Portal, maybe consider getting PlayStation Plus for 20 plus years like this guy. I'm joking, but seriously, do you guys think the PlayStation 5 Pro is worth it for $700? I think that a lot of people would be more open to purchasing it if it was just at a lower starting point, and maybe if they gave us a disk drive and a stand for it. Like, come on, Sony. If you're enjoying the content at all, please consider subscribing. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. We're really close. So if you can help us hit that milestone, I would really appreciate it. And I'll give you a bunch of like hugs, like virtual hugs. Virtual hugs is what I will offer you. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Will you be buying a PlayStation 5 Pro? Let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.